Welcome to the channel, everybody. Phil Beckwith, the professional painter and decorator. I'm back with you and we're talking about Mylands paints again. Previous video you might have seen me painting Doris the door in the Mylands undercoat and then the black gloss. If you want to watch about that video and know a little bit more about it, please click the link there. That'll take you to the gloss Mylands. Now, it's been a few days since I did the black gloss, and you're watching this a few weeks on from when the black gloss video went out. But I'm trying something today. I've been told it works and I'm going to give it a shot. Now, you've seen what I'm using. I've got the Mylands and it's the quick drying kitchen and bathroom, and it's their gloss varnish. Water-based, quick drying water-based. I'll just read you quickly what it says on the back. It says quick drying kitchen and bathroom gloss varnish, and it says quick drying kitchen and bathroom varnish. Good, is a good quality, clear, water-based Alkyd. We like the word Alkyd. Alkyd varnish for interior use on wood and wood-based substrates. I'm looking at Doris. Formulated to resist moisture, staining and general wear and tear. Quick drying kitchen and bathroom varnish is ideal for those rooms where steam and moisture prevail. Dangers: contains iron dryer complex, blah, we don't want to go about the dangers of it. But what I'm going to do, I've got the door that is in black gloss. I think we can all agree for a water-based gloss it's pretty acceptable. Now, you know what my thoughts were when we did the video. I think that black gloss could just done with a little bit more body to it, because I can see some scratch marks on the surface that is probably self-inflicted when I went round with the fine sanding pad just to nib down that first gloss top coat. Now, if I hadn't have done that, would it be better? I don't know. The damage has been done now. So I do think there's an element that thicker paint does cover that sort of scenario, but that's not a bad gloss, and I want to see, and I've been told it does work, if I go with the gloss varnish over the top of that door, I get a better gloss level. Be interesting to know, won't it? Now, I'm on the understanding that they're Mylands paints. If you don't know about Mylands, been around since 1884. Family run business now. Dominic Mylands in charge of it. His great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, and your great-granddaughter's doing fine. You know that song, yeah. Oh, it's a bit of a joke there. It's a family run business, been around for 140 years, and they've had that royal warrant since 1985. So it is a credible, it's got credibility is the word, a proper British, well, I'll say success story. It's a paint manufacturer. Now, Ronnie's reached out to me and he sent me some sample tins of paint to try. So over the next few weeks, months, you will see a few more Mylands that I'm trying out. Now, it says their bases for what they mix off are all the same, and it's just a case of they tweak it depending on what paint they're manufacturing. I think I understand that. So your actual glossers are the bases for the actual paints that you use that are a coloured mix. So in effect, this gloss varnish is in effect a paint with no colour in it, no pigments, and that's why you're going to get a high gloss level. So what I'm going to be doing is coating the door up. I'm going to go with the Maverick brush again. Now, the people who didn't see the last video, I did use the Mylands brush for the first couple of coats, i.e. the undercoat and the first top coat. I wasn't too happy with the finish it was giving me, so I did swap over to a Maverick Series S brush, which is a lot softer bristle. I found it did apply the paint a lot easier. I'm not saying the Mylands brushes aren't very good. What I'm saying is the Mylands brushes probably suit emulsion paints on walls more so than woodwork trim paints. I'm just saying that, my personal opinion. People might say something different, but I found the Maverick was a lot softer bristle. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the camera around. I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing on here. I have taped up a section of the panel up there and I will not be varnishing that, because what the plan is, I want to give 2 coats of varnish. Drying time is going to be the usual, touch dry in 1 hour to 2 hours, 3 to 4 hours. You could probably get the second coat on, and you know what I'm like, I always say the longer you can leave it the better. But what I'm going to do is going to leave that top panel there. I'm going to get a coat on all the door, see how it is, and then I'll give it a second coat, and we will leave that off and see if there is a difference between the gloss level between the black gloss, which was number 10 Downing Street. Yes, that's what the Mylands paint colour was, number 10 Downing Street, and seeing if there's a difference between what the gloss level is when we put the water-based quick drying kitchen and bathroom gloss paint over the top, varnish over the top. So let's see what it is. I'll move the camera now and let's have a different angle for you. I'm back. Right, you can see that panel a lot easier there. I've just got some of the really low tack tape just going around the edges. That panel is not being touched. I don't know whether you can see on the lens on the screen. I can see it. I can just see the little skate marks, scratch marks where, yeah, I'm just looking there, where the Goldflex microfiber pad, Goldflex, one of those Goldflex sanding pads had just scraped the surface. It might even be from previous sanding down on the door, and just the paint films haven't actually flowed out and covered those. I don't know. It could be my user error. It could be just the paint wants a little bit more body to it. What I would say is, if you look really close, I won't say there's too many brush marks there. It's not bad at all, actually. But let's get the paint stroke varnish going. You know how I paint a door the correct way. Do your mouldings first, then your panel. Drop down onto all the other mouldings and panels. Bring your mullions in, bring your top rails, mid rails, latch rails, and then bring the stiles in as well. If you are painting a door, you might be doing the lock or the hinge side, depending on how you're actually painting it for what room. But let's have a go with this. Bedded my brush in. I'm expecting this to go on a bit milky, so I'll see where it's going. Does feel nice to put on. It will feel really nice going over a gloss surface. Let me see if I can get this door from rattling about. That's better. Right, it's on. Let's just quickly lay it off. This Maverick brush is a 2.5 inch. So it's quite big. We can actually get the paint on. I'm not going to feather it off. I'm going to try and go as quick as I possibly can and just get it all the way on. I'm not too worried if I miss anything. I don't think I will, because we're going to be giving it a second coat. So if you can just bear with me, I'm going to get this on, get the heaters on, and we'll have a look at it in a few minutes. Catch you in a bit. Okie dokie. I have got coat on that. It takes me about 7 minutes to coat a door up like this. I know how long it takes because I can see the counter on the actual camera for videoing. So a coating up a door should take about 10 minutes. If you're using a roller, you'll probably be a little bit quicker. And if you've got a sprayer, like I've got down here, if you've got a quick shot sprayer, Graco sprayer, cordless, you'll be whizzing doors out. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, ever so quickly. Now, what I'm going to say to you is work quick when you've got these water-based varnishes. Doesn't really matter what brand you've got, just work quickly because they will be going off on you quite quick. Now, just be mindful, it does go on a bit milky, so you see like a purpley tinge to it when you're putting it on. It's quite easy to get a little bit too much on your brush and get little areas there creeping and running. I've caught them just as I've worked the way down on the door just to knock them off, so hopefully I won't have anything too nasty when I come back to it when it's dry. But one thing I will say to you is this is a water-based varnish. You can put it onto bare wood surfaces. If you are doing it interior and using bare wood to varnish, you know, like the oak doors and things like that, that people are quite fashionable. I would say if you are using this, it's quite thin anyway. See how it goes. You might want to just put a little bit of water into it just to help it soak into that bare wood before you go with your top coats. Now, you probably might say it's fine, it's thin enough, it actually goes and soaks in well enough, but it might be worth you just knocking a little bit of varnish up with a touch of water to thin it slightly, to allow that first coat to go in on that bare wood. Once it's dry, we call it, it pops the grain, it soaks into the wood and it makes the grain rise. Now, once that grain's risen, you give it a little bit of sand down, not too much, just sand it down, and then you can go with your 2 top coats full, you know, don't thin it. Now, a lot of oak doors and wooden doors, people are oiling them with different brands. Personally, I prefer to go down the water-based varnish route if I've got oak wooden doors, mainly because once you've got that hard-wearing water-based varnish on, you don't have to do anything to it. You can just give it a wipe with a cloth and that's it. Some of the oils that people are a bit fixated on for oiling wood, your finger grease. The oil on the surface attracts your finger grease, and before you know it, round your locks, round your handles, where people are touching doors mainly, you suddenly start them going a bit dark, and it's the dirt off your hands as going into that oil. Now, if you've got a varnish like the Mylands going over a wooden bare door, once you've got that on, it's not going to get penetrating into it. It's not going to stick. It's not a sticky oil surface. So personally, if you've got wooden doors to varnish, do it with a water-based varnish or even an oil. If you really want to go down the road of oil, you can go down oil varnish. But personally, I don't advise customers when they've got this thing about we want oiled, wax oiled doors. No, I don't know that. Give you another lesson. Anyway, that is drying off nicely. It looks like there's a good gloss level to that. I'm going to get a heater on to help it dry. I can see what's been glossed and what hasn't been glossed. I'm going to give that, I'm going to look at it in about 3 hours time, 4 hours. If it's good enough to go for a second coat, I will do. If not, I might leave it till tomorrow when I've got a bit more time. But so far, that's gone on really nicely. The other tip and trick I'm going to impart my knowledge onto you with is, don't worry too much if you've got a gloss surface and you're going over with a water-based satin or a water-based matte and you go over a gloss varnish and it scissors. Don't panic. Just give your surface a light rub down. It'll make all the difference. And I know back in the day, if you've got some chalk, powdered chalk, talcum powder, you could actually go over the surface and get rid of that surface tension that is making your water-based varnish, i.e. it could be a satin or a matte sissing. It might be because you're going over a surface and you've got a surface tension issue, one being shiny gloss and one being not so glossy, your satin, your eggshell, your matte. But I think this is going to be fine. We're not going to have any sissing when I go over it again. I didn't have any sissing because I was going over a gloss surface before and I didn't give it a nib down. I've taken the chance of going straight over what I did only a few days ago. So, right, I've done enough talking now. I gave you a little bit of information. I'm going to wash the brush out so I'll come back to it later on with a clean, fresh brush that's been washed out. But so far, so good. I can see a run down near the handle. I'm just going to dab it out with my finger. Thumb, gone. Catch you later on, everybody. Right, I'm nowhere near 4 hours. I'm actually just over an hour since I did that door. It is dry. I did say touch dry is about an hour. It is dry. I'm going to say what a fantastic gloss on there. What a fantastic gloss. Cracking. You can really see a difference between the varnish gloss and the gloss which is the ordinary plant-based paint that I used. Quick tip and trick again, if you see something on what you've already done, don't flick it off with your bristles of your brush because all you're doing is going to flash it. This is where I said I used the 2.5 inch brush. I actually banged it on, got it on, didn't really want to touch anything. So that first coat, if you do see something and you've touched it, don't worry, because when you come back to actually the second coat, just make sure you don't go back over what you've already done. It'll be very interesting. I'll probably do it next time round Let's see what it's like with a brush for the second coat of the varnish. Once that's dried, I might even try it with, I've got some nice mini rollers, because I think having that applied by a roller would eliminate any issues that you've got with touching anything with a bristle. But do you know what? So far, so good. To the point that I'd say, forget what the gloss looks like when you put the plant-based gloss. Can you see it there? Go with what the gloss is off the varnish. So yeah, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. It's going to be a lot better tomorrow. I think you can gather we're probably on next day. You've just seen me coat that door up, and I did go in with, I've gone in with a mini roller, 4-inch mini roller with a 10mm nap. You saw that on the pre-vid, shall I say, the B-roll. This is just the Coral Aspire mini roller covers. Really nice, very soft. I did wash that out before I came to dip it into the actual varnish, just to get any fluff or anything that might have been on the roller. You could put tape round it if you wanted. Just be mindful, I washed it out, and when you come to actually roll your varnish on, or any paints when you've got a mini roller that's been washed out, you might have a little bit of moisture still in it that starts oozing with your paint or varnish. So make sure you shake it, spin it, get rid of as much moisture in that roller sleeve if you have actually doused it in water and washed it all out. But saying all that, I think I've got a better finish on that door with that roller than just going in with the brush. Now, on that little bit of a video, you saw what I did. I went round the mouldings mainly to make sure that I got a good coating and I didn't miss anything with the roller. Then I went all over it, and in effect laid it off with the style, these are the styles at the side, in the direction of whatever the wood had been, just to try and keep uniformity. That's what I'm going to say. But you know what? That's been done just over an hour. It's lovely and dry. I will say that I'm looking at this screen, looking at the camera, I will say that is a lot better gloss level than just leaving the Mylands multi-surface paint, which is 10 Downing Street black. It's a lot better gloss than just leaving it as the gloss finish of the, well, let's call it the MSP, the plant-based gloss multi-surface paint. This has given it the pop, it's given it the glossness that you'd expect to see from a paint that's glossy. Now, I'm just going to take that tape off. Hopefully, I'll put that down. Pull it off around the edges. And if you know how to put tape on, if you start on one side and work your way around all the way, you will be taking your tape off all in one piece. You get what I mean? All in one piece. Don't just do a strip there, strip there, strip there, and then you're taking off strips at a time. If you start one way and work your way around, clockwise, anti-clockwise, it doesn't matter, you'll pull off your tape all in one, and that's what I've done there. Let's chuck it in the bin that's behind. Look at the difference. I don't know whether you can see it, but I'm going to say to you, my apprehensions that I got with the MSP, I could see little skate marks, scratch marks from nibbing down. Now I've got 2 coats of the gloss on, I'm losing them. I'm getting rid of those, aren't I? I've got, let's see if we can see. We're getting rid of those little bits of scratch marks. You can actually probably see better now we're closer how good that gloss level is. Now, can you remember when I read the tin out to you earlier in the video? It mentions that this paint is Alkyd. I'll just see if I can find it there for you. Put my glasses on. Now, it says a water-based Alkyd varnish for interior use. Now, going back in the day, if you said to me an Alkyd paint, you're thinking to yourself, oil-based. Now, this water-based Alkyd, I will say there's something in it, because when I came to wash out the brushes and the roller, albeit they are actually easy enough to wash out, they are a little bit stickier to wash out, and that's probably that Alkyd element that is giving it the pop of the gloss. So when you are washing your rollers out or your brushes, your roller sleeve, that mini one, you might throw away. But if you do want to wash it out for another time, rinse it with cold water, go to a little bit of lukewarm water, and I've got a bar of soap that I use in my utility room, and I just clean it up with that. Bit of washing up liquid in the bristles, just rinse it all out. Make sure you've got nothing in the stock, in the base of the brush, and then just rinse it out with cold water, and they've come up all right. That's still nice and fluffy. I'm still happy with that, but just be mindful that they might not be as easy to wash out as what you would expect from a fully acrylic based paint stroke varnish. But do you know what? Very happy with that, very impressed with it. I would say if you've got a door that you've sanded down well and you're bringing up to a quality finish, you would probably be using a roller, a mini roller. I've gone with a 10mm, and I say to people, get your first undercoats on and your first top coats on with a 10mm, and then drop onto something. I've got some up here, 5mm. But just be mindful that the 5mm doesn't hold as much product as what a 10mm would. So you might find you rolling out varnish or paint a little bit more than you really want to. I'd say try your 10mm, because you'll find 10mm's probably a good all-rounder. If you're happy with how the 10mm's left your surface and dried, and it's not left it too orange peely, that's mainly down to obviously your nap of your roller sleeve, but also the thickness of the paint. If you're quite happy with how it's dried off with the 10mm, do you know what? Stick with it. I had a job a few years ago. I was working in Portugal, got lots of bedroom doors to use, and I did go between a 10mm and a 5mm, and ended up thinking to myself, do you know what, I'm making hard work of this with the 5mm. And the way the paint was, and do you know what the paint was? I'm going to get it. It was that CIN Portuguese paint. That paint leveled out lovely with a 10mm roller. So if you've got doors, areas that you're using with a mini roller here, just be mindful what it dries like. If it's looking orange peely, obviously you need to probably drop down a little bit. Don't be putting so much on with that 10mm, go to something that's a 5mm. But back to the door, I'm going to come in close. Really happy with that. I'm going to probably try this again. I've got some satin version of this varnish, and I want to probably try the satin I'll get it out. The satin version of the varnish. We will keep the raw plant-based gloss there. We will keep the gloss version there, and I will do the rest of the door in the satin, and we'll see what it's like and see what the difference is of gloss to a satin finish. I'll just drop down the camera there. You can see what I've got on the side I've been using. They're all there. Very happy with the paint. Thank you very much, Mylands, for sending out these samples for me to try, and obviously explain to people who are watching the channel. Again, we've got another 30-minute video probably, but I will say I am giving you the information that you need if you are going to go in with this paint and you've never tried it before. Hopefully you'll watch this and go, oh, we'll pick up on a few tips and tricks that Phil's told us along the way of his trying it out, progression, whatever you want to call it. So please watch the videos at the end. Those that give me super thanks are pressing that little 3-dot button in the corner, and people who are doing me buy me a coffee, much appreciated. It all helps to keep this channel going. See you on the next one.